business has outperformed much larger cities. The true success indicator has been from the fans.
Well, it's boys night out. And don't you know we're gonna scream and shout, oh no.
Hello and welcome to the club. I'm your host Mars, and this is the Upper 90 Club, a roundtable podcast where five friends discuss the Columbus Crew. On this episode, we review the Crew's 2-0 win against DC. Our second such result this season, completing a rare dos por dos a Cero, bringing our final scheduled season record versus DC to 2-0.
Dios mío.
We look ahead to our match against Bruce Arena's New England Revolution, currently second seed in the East. And we have a Crew 2 versus Chicago update from President Bird. And finally, we update our match predictions table and consult our random score generator to predict this week's result.
Which will not
follow
come
us
to
on
pass.
Instagram and Twitter at Upper 90 Club Pod, and you can watch full episodes and clips with a Z on YouTube at Upper 90 Club. That's it. Same
So,
thing 2
Upper
weeks
90
ago.
Worst case scenario is Google us. Okay, Siri.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like, subscribe, rate, review. And send questions and comments to podcast at upper90club.com. With me in the club are Ben, Mort, Trey, and Haas. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hi. So before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to congratulate Trey and his wife, who welcomed their new baby girl, Cora Jean Mock.
Yep.
Wednesday.
DJ.
Wednesday? Yes.
There's Wednesday at 3:04 p.m.
Okay. Cora, welcome to the club. How's everybody
Welcome to the
doing
club.
there, Trey?
Good, surviving. She's doing fantastic. Yeah, mom's doing great. I'm just
The most hair on a baby's head I've ever seen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very jealous.
Like, yeah, she came out and Hayden Morris was
You
like,
and me
whoa, dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did she have the puffy bangs like Hayden Morris?
She
I
did. It
combed
was
it forward and
insane.
it was just like
Bl-
the wave in it.
Frosted tips?
Amazing.
Dashboard confessional.
Yeah.
is this how we're going to get more listeners? We're just going to reproduce.
Yeah. We've already gone over the
Yes.
fact that we know our families do not listen. So
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. My dad only listens on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why we're on YouTube.
Well, so, and I was listening in my car. I told you guys that I was having all these car problems. Like, my car died, I think, in November. I couldn't get a car because there aren't any new cars. So I ordered a car, and they're like, it's going to be 6 months or something. And so I've been waiting. And then when I was pulling out the other day, I was listening to the episode. I don't know if these are like related or not, but
It's got to be.
it just started like a big red triangle came up and it said problem. It just said problem on the dashboard. And
was that your Prius?
Yeah.
That's a bad thing on a
And
Prius.
this thing is like so busted, and I'm just
It's
like
old.
yeah, it's so old.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like the first Prius.
I'm
It has
begging
HAL installed
begging the
from-
dealership to get me something pronto. But anyway, so then I was driving on the way home, and one headlight, and I saw the sign
Great song.
for this weekend's theme night. Did you see it?
Which one? The
It
theme
was-
night?
Yeah, it was at the end of the road. I was like, how bizarre.
Boys
you
to
know?
Men? Oh, no.
Just catching on to it.
Come on.
Oh. I was like, these are songs. Wait. Oh, wait. I get it.
No, so this weekend's theme night is 90s night. I wanted to ask you guys.
Was that the last one?
No.
Did you
No.
get that? Okay.
Oh, were you the last one to get
oh.
it? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I was there
think
with
so.
you.
I was like, I don't know if he knows this, but he's saying a lot of 90s songs.
When I was kind of thinking about 90s night, like maybe like Room and Bush would have to like explain the 90s to Schulte, or maybe he would come dressed as an unfertilized egg or something. No, too much.
No, I like that one.
He's literally just a sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, you can cut all that out. So, so what do you guys? What was my question? Sorry, how did I phrase that?
How are you going to celebrate?
Yes, that's right. Okay. So, how are you guys going to celebrate 90s night, Ben?
Well, this is like right up our alley because we all grew up in the 90s. I mean, even there's an okay age discrepancy between us, but we were all 90s kids.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I DJ'd a 90s night at Kobo, which is now Spacebar, for 2 years with Alex.
Oh yeah,
Like
I
when we got
remember
off tour. Oh man. So the 90s it is the best all time like decade, right?
Man, I went there. Maybe you were DJing. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
Calm down, Blake Anderson.
Nobody, yeah, no, seriously. Like, not the 90s, but I'm going to celebrate by rocking my brand new Supporter Supply 90s
Oh,
crew
you got
jersey.
one?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I was
Oh,
like, I was all
Nice.
about it.
Will you
I
have
saw
it in time?
Yeah, they said it was shipping time.
The first
So-
round.
Mhm.
Will it ship in time? Will it arrive in time? That's,
No, they said they promised they would have it by the game. I actually think it's kind of cool. I mean, it
is
does
cool.
have
It's cool.
it has the blue in it, which gives me kind of throwbacks to the this
Looks
is
like
for
the Cubs.
Columbus jersey, but yeah,
Oh,
That was
Oh.
Daly's first comment.
Yeah.
it's
Party
I don't
cups.
know.
Party
The more
cups.
I kept watch, I love it. I'm all about it. So I bought it immediately when it came out.
No, it's good.
Consumer.
What about you, Mort?
and I was a little back and forth on that, and I was thinking I could rock my old jersey from the 90s, which looks kind of like the Austin one, like kind of a blue version of that.
Oh,
I was
nice.
watching.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't wear a blue jersey for the game, so I don't know. I'm going to flip my pants backwards and jump around
Yeah.
or whatever.
There you go. That's a
Oh,
great
man.
idea. That's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Cross,
Do
baby.
that.
Are you going to the game?
Yes, I'm going to the game. I guess I have to put Daddy Mac back of my jersey or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Nice.
Just wear a hat backwards. That's the thing.
No,
So-
you have to wear your pants backwards. You
Yeah.
really do.
I think I
Yeah.
have a starter jacket.
Starter
The GC,
jacket.
yeah, the GC bag people have that Nike 90s thing at Supporter Supply too that I think actually looks kind of cool.
I was gonna
The
say
flying V one.
Yeah,
I might kill
That is
for a
pretty cool.
crew starter jacket.
oh, I would
Yeah.
be all over that.
Yeah,
Those warm-ups are pretty cool looking. The
yeah.
bright
Oh, yeah.
yellow ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Morgan,
What
get
about
on
you,
that.
Trey?
Ooh, so I'm 50-50. If I end up going to the game, it's definitely going to be trying to dress like a 90s dad for sure. Like maybe some real tight jean shorts and
Yeah.
I don't
Grow
think
the
I wore
mustache?
tight jean shorts.
You gonna grow your
in the
mustache? Can you
90s.
grow it?
I have a
Yeah.
puka shell necklace.
You didn't
And a
know my
bracelet.
father in the 90s. My father in the 90s was so yeah, I mean
Oh, that's
if-
right. He did.
Yeah,
see
I mean
pictures.
He
celebrating
had a
90s
big
night, I mean,
mustache.
it is our wheelhouse. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I mean, I think it's going to be prior to the game. You got to get a mixtape going. You gotta produce some sort of 90s mixtape, which for me would have been Nirvana, Oasis, Pearl Jam,
Yeah.
Tupac. So,
Westerville. It's got to be Tupac.
Yeah.
I love Biggie and Westerville.
Yeah,
I don't know
true.
what it was like in Dublin or
Easterville.
or Oslo. But it was Pac.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, I just got the feels with the rollerblades. And does anybody else want to just like roll up to the game and like put your blades on like
Blades.
tie the laces
Oh.
together and
Blades
just
of
put them over
I
over
love
your
the blades.
shoulders.
United Skates.
Yeah, I would.
So
Yep. I'm just
uh,
gonna like put the baby on my chest and like skate up.
I tried to look it up.
no
I
issues
tr-
with that.
No
I tried
break.
to look it up while Ben was talking, but I couldn't find it. Isn't there something about roller skating? Isn't there like some kind of skating going on?
They might have like a roller skating thing in the middle when you walk up. I wonder if they have
Oh, I could rock
space
that.
for Heelys. Do you guys remember Heelys? The
Yeah.
shoes?
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean for the those
Was
things
that
were-
90s?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
prefer
it was.
soaps. Okay.
Yeah, soap shoes.
Soaps.
Yeah, soap
Oh
shoes.
boy.
I had some of those.
Oh, all of the kids
For
are having those
Airwalks?
now, though.
Yeah, it's making a
Yeah.
comeback.
That's the
Now that the
thing, man.
90s are cool again, I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I made my wife get rid of her rollerblades about 4 years ago because I'm like, listen, you look ridiculous wearing these things. Like nobody wears these things. Like they're just
Yeah.
not a thing. Like they're not coming.
Oh, now you're wishing you had.
I
those
bought Ashley
blades.
them
Eating
last
crow.
year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
So
doesn't use them.
we used to go to the United Skates out in Bexley, and there were some like moms that were pushing their strollers out on the rink. So you just put the baby in the stroller, and
But that was the
just keep
90s. That was
rolling up.
back when like you don't wear seat belts. Like soda is a vegetable or something
Yeah.
like that, or was
Yeah.
it pizza? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. a
what about
thing.
you, Haas?
I think I'll probably, throw back some Zimas and rock out to some Third Eye Blind.
Yeah, Third Eye Blind. It's a good one too.
Self-titled, baby.
What about
That was a good record.
What about
It's
Big
a
Willie
good
style? Too soon?
I was
Was
never
that-
a fan.
Big
Huh?
Willie style.
Yeah, Big Willie style. No,
Will Smith.
Not
Men
a
in
fan.
Black.
Yeah, that was 90s.
I
for
did.
Sure.
Was it Collie High Harmony? No, it was Boys to Men. Ooh,
Okay.
I got parents just don't
Holly
understand.
High Harmony.
Well, for this week we will be the upper
Willie?
90s club.
Oh,
Sorry.
Ooh,
I like it.
God,
man.
Sorry.
Just like just swinging and missing tonight.
And waiting for Ben to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I get it.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
This episode of the Upper 90 Club is brought to you, as always, by Supporter Supply Company. Hi, friends, this is your good pal Morgan Hughes, here to talk to you about a serious issue facing 96% of all crew supporters in Columbus. Why, not enough free shipping, of course. For a limited time now, through the eventual heat death of the universe, Upper 90 Club listeners can use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z on the end of it, at checkout for free delivery on absolutely any order over $10. But Morgan, what if I order $10 worth of stickers, or those goddamned buttons, or some other combination of small items that make you want to kill yourself? Will the free shipping still apply then, even as you curse our family, while you package up our little tiny annoying ass order for us? Of course it will. That's just how much we here at Supporter Supply value our friends at the Upper 90 Club. So head on over to supportersupply.co and use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z at checkout for free shipping on all your orders over $10. And don't forget to tell them that your friends at the Upper 90 Club sent ya.
Okay, well, we have good things to talk about. Let's talk about the DC game. Starting with the lineups, I think I heard him say that they were the same as the last DC game. Is that true, Haas? Talk us through it.
No, it was the same lineup as the week before against
Okay,
Real Salt
all right.
Lake.
Line
So,
them up.
Light them up.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're not
Line
getting
'em
away
up.
with that.
Ramirez up top, Zelrayan Matan behind him, Sands, Nagby, Morris, and Farsi. Then in the back, we had Vallecilla, Deganek, Morera, and Schulte in goal. Room is out with a knee injury. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering where he was because he must have recovered from the 7-0 loss to Argentina, but it sounds like actually he has not. Okay.
I mean,
All right,
it's
so-
a beating.
Yeah. So what'd you guys think? Who stood out? Ben?
Well, it was weird because I came in the game right at 77 minutes, and I
You
ended
personally?
up having to. Yeah, if you look, I got subbed in around.
Surprised it
Yeah,
took you that long.
yeah, I got a 6.3 rating. It was all right. I connected some passes. No, so I watched the end, and I had to rewatch the beginning, and I was hoping to rewatch the entire game, but unfortunately, I just got the highlights. So it's kind of the game was really weird. I thought this was a really weird game. The standouts for me, I would, I mean, Aiden Morris again is just a monster. Like
Yeah.
all game, like he's just insane. Like, you know, when I turned on the game, he already looked like the Terminator.
Yeah.
So then I was like, how did he get to this point? And then they were saying, like, I think it was like right around that time was his second eye injury.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, he was like fixing his hair on the first one. I was like, what are you talking about? So I ended up watching it again. It was
the 2006 Brian McBride
Mhm.
USA face destruction injury. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine but it was just insane. He stood out and played amazing. I also thought Will Sands again. Actually, both him and Farsi are just
Putting in work.
That's what it is. They're hustle bots. Can we get that going? Is that a thing?
No, I'm not interested in that.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to the VAR and see if that doesn't. Okay, maybe it won't work. But yeah, I'd say like that our midfield, as far as the game goes, those guys all stood out.
Yeah,
all of them stood out, and yeah, that's what I would say.
More
in the first half, I thought it was across the board just a good team effort, and it starts with the midfield, of course. And I think we see more and more of Farsi going forward, which is great to see.
Agreed.
We'll come back to this, but it seems to be quite a bit of a kind of a group effort on the right side between him and Morera. Where if Morera goes, he stays, and if Farsi goes, he covers for him. So that it's kind of a dual threat on the right side for us. And then again, Sands on the left side, very offensive minded, does the work, does the puts in a good tackle, can take a beating, but at the same time, every time he takes the ball up, he tries to create something offensively, and I think that gives us a lot. And I think kind of those two players, the last couple of games, have given us so much offensively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Trey, Haas, anyone else to add?
No, I mean, I think I would echo what Ben and Mort were saying. Farsi, to me, I thought was player of the game, but the two that just Aiden and Schulte, I thought Schulte played really well.
Oh, yeah.
He had a couple of young player kind of gaps at the end when he came out. That might have been the one where Sands saved it off the line.
That was 10 minutes into the game.
Okay. But Schulte
it was toward the end of when Ben watched the game, because he started in the 70th and looped back around.
Yeah.
Nice.
But him and Aiden played really well. So yeah, I mean that's what I would put it on for me. Farsi, Aiden, and Schulte.
Yeah.
And Vallecilla helped out quite a bit in the back against Beneteke, because both large men. It's nice to have a big center back.
Yeah.
The shift since he's been starting has been noticeable.
For sure.
Yeah.
He is very good.
Yeah, but the thing is, we talked about it, or I guess I saw it around the internet when we got him. He came from, what was it, Colorado and Cincinnati, both when they were absolutely terrible. And he was ranked so terrible. And we're like, why did we get this guy? But this is the thing that I think that, both Bez and Nancy hit on, was like, all right, we see this guy who's not very good, but the thing is, he hasn't played in a back three. He likes to possess the ball and actually play it out of the back, and that doesn't work in every system. And he's come in and been, he has blown me away. I thought he was going to be garbage based on his past, and it is not the case.
And maybe not that he hasn't played a lot and played really for very bad teams. So I think they have seen something in him, and then knowing that he could probably achieve something in a little better team and a little bit more balance or in the right formation. So I think that has been huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I want to get into the goals. The first goal was not till later in the first half. So I want to talk about the first half and gameplay. You mentioned the save on the line from Sands. Oz, you want to talk through that, and we can just do a quick reaction on that?
In the 11th minute, there was a ball over the top from Click to Beneteke. Schulte comes out and doesn't get the ball.
Yeah.
And the ball just drops to
Kind of like
Taxi
punches or
Fountain.
like
No, he gets the ball.
yeah.
Pintas, however you say that. And
I think he
shoots
makes contact, but it kind of
as
like
Will
rolls
Sands is
out.
kind of making his way back to the line right in the middle of the goal and clears it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
he gets the ball. Like it's clipped into Benteke, and for whatever reason, Benteke's close, and he doesn't go for it, and he's able to like punch it, but he punches it like he doesn't clear it. He basically assists it to who did you say took the strike on the goal?
Taxi.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
yeah.
so that was like a roller coaster of emotion, but
Too much.
Yeah, and I mean, most of the first half was we just dominated. We didn't get to anything like huge chances. It was a little frustrating for all the play we had, kind of like missing a little bit on that final pass. And even the announcers are talking about how like Crew's looking like the home team here. They're the ones dictating the play and all that. But at the same time, we know that this is a team that's willing to give up possession because they know they're looking for that long ball to Benteke every time. He wins that ball, and they mentioned that he's won the most the duels in all of MLS.
right.
And it's not a central defense. He's an offensive guy, and he did in this game too. He won every game, not every duel up there. But I think we were very aware of he would win that, and we'd just get that second ball. And that's where the hustle from the midfielders and the other guys in the back winning that second ball. So if we were like, except for that chance, and I think it was some late pressure too, if we didn't get them to a whole lot of chances, and that's really nice to see.
A minute before that save that we just talked about, Farsi plays a ball to Zelarayan, who heads it over to Matan in the box, and Matan takes a first touch strike that's blocked, and then it falls immediately to Ramirez, and he just skies it.
Yeah.
Like that was like immediately before the possession that led up to that Sand save. But I noticed, I mean,
it was on the up bounce. I realized on the replay, I was really like, oh, there he goes again. But it was on the up bounce. It's a hard thing to do. So I can kind of understand why that happened. Yeah.
We had 77% of possession in the first 15 minutes of the game. Like,
Wow. Did not realize that.
We didn't mention the Portuguese.
I completely forgot about that.
Well, I only remembered because the commentator they were saying Santos with a really strong
Santos.
How were they saying it? I can remember them saying it. I was like, that's not right. I don't like the way that
but
sounds.
he was. I don't know.
Sean
What do you
Connery?
think of Pedro, guys? I mean, he was
Non-factor.
not much of a factor. Yeah.
I thought
he was
gonna...
aggressive. He was aggressive. He was
Really?
angry.
Oh,
he was
maybe angry. But I don't know. I don't know.
He
that
had
he made a
him and Sands had a couple of interactions out there that was get a little heated.
well, they wanted the PK on Sands when he took the ball away from Pedro in the box, and maybe a little elbow or shoulder got into Pedro's face.
Yeah. Well, and I heard Wayne. We'll talk about this later. Wayne Rooney commenting on Matan's PK, and it was like, Pedro wrote the book on, on going to ground,
100%. Yeah.
Anyway, all right. What else in the first half? Anything before we get to the goal?
Yeah. Did anybody go back and rewatch the shot? You were talking about it by Matan. Was that blocked with his hand? I couldn't tell because I was like, was that a handball? And I never saw a replay to see if and then they went up and had their chance right after, right? So I was like, oh, are they going to call it back because there was a PK on the other side when that kind of happened? Because
ironically, which is what happened later, like calling back for a PK.
Oh yeah. And but for me, it looks like he went down and it hit his arm behind his body. But
I must have missed that when I
don't know
watched
if
it
that
again.
if that was on that shot or if that was a Zelarayan shot earlier.
No, they could have been still around. It was early on in the game. That's for
where
sure.
he's setting up exactly like how he scored on DC last time, but it gets blocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Anyways.
I know that play you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so the goal was a result of a VAR callback. I mean, I think they played
Let's get into that.
20 minutes between the time that it happened and when they took the PK. But Hawes, can you kind of lay out what led up to that?
Yeah, so 34th minute, we lose the ball in the attacking half to Santos, and Morris quickly takes it right off of Santos, passes it into Sands. He finds Matan. Matan has it knocked away, and it falls straight to Morris. He gives it back to Matan in the box. Matan dribbles around a little bit, and Knuth grabs his arm, steps on his right foot.
Yeah.
But Matan takes a few more steps before he goes down.
I'd say maybe one step.
With each foot, I think.
Yeah, no, he it happens on his
It's
right.
like a
he takes a left
basketball
step,
travel
and then,
kind of thing, like.
And then he goes down when he comes back to his right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have to say, my first reaction was like, that was embarrassing.
Well,
that was my first reaction. It's like, oh, come on.
The play continues.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
Yeah,
back down to their side.
Yeah.
And Beneteke ends up going down the right side, crosses the ball to Taxi, who shoots kind of an awkward shot away from Schulte.
It was a good
Schulte's
shot.
going one direction. It's trickling back post behind Schulte, and he just dives and barely gets a hand to it to slap it off.
Such a good save. That was a good shot. People were saying, he could have got more on that. I'm like, nah, dude. That was actually a pretty good shot, and it was a great save. And so I rewatched it right before we hopped on here, and you said it was Taxi. Wait, is that his last name?
Taxi Funtas.
Okay,
no,
that makes sense.
He's Greek, I think. I don't know how to say his first name.
Is the word taxi Greek?
It's
we move
in
on.
his
We
first
can move
name.
on.
It's a long first name.
Taximilos Sianos.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
No, I know. Hey, okay. But he actually, when he kicked it, if you watch it again, he's pumping his fist to the fans and yelling at them before it went in. So he thought it was going in. It is hilarious. So he makes that save. That save is really phenomenal.
It seemed like
it was
I couldn't believe he had enough force to get to where because I kind of feel like Schulte was going the other direction, right? Like I feel like there was a right juke in there, and then he was able to just extend
which is fair,
and get there.
That
I
was
could
the
not
shot.
believe he got to that ball.
He fully laid out, full stretch.
It was great. I think it was actually pretty awesome for him to keep that out, but it is if you have a chance to go back and watch it, like him just going, like pumping that fist, like, oh yeah, my name's Taxi, like not a chance.
So he gets big, keeps the ball out, and then the VAR comes in, right? Like this is why I said 20 minutes.
We end up kicking the ball out.
It wasn't 20 minutes, but it was a full almost goal at the other end before they started to review it.
Yeah. 100% it was weird. So when it happened in real time, I was like, what is happening? Like I thought they stopped the game when they kicked it out when he was hurt and the ref was kind of running around. I thought he was going to yellow card him for diving, like simulation.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that was a thing. And then they started saying like, oh, I think he's being called to the screen to like look at it again. And I was like, in real time, it was there was no way. It would never have happened if there wasn't VAR.
Have you guys noticed that they have now that filter, I guess? Because I only saw a black screen. On the previous ones, you can see what they were looking at. You can kind of see, because we remember Degnek, when we had that bad angle. He only looked at that bad angle over and over and over. This time it was like you can only see like a black screen.
Yeah.
Because they probably have that privacy thing from the plane.
As a crew fan, I mean, I think this falls into the category of if you're a crew fan, it's obvious, but this is it. It is when you watch it, it's a victim of VAR, because if you watch VAR and go, oh, he got his ankle stepped on, and then watch it in full speed, it is like that's a foul. Yeah. When you break it down in VAR quarter speed, it's like, oh, he took 3 steps after getting stepped on, but the full speed
Yeah.
it doesn't
I hear what
happen
you're
like
saying.
that.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's
Yeah.
100%. It's 100% a foul.
He grabs
Right.
the arm. You know,
Yeah,
maybe he's trying to catch him. You know, I mean, like you
Yeah.
remember. I don't. This may be too obscure a reference, but like I'm thinking about when
I'm here for it.
Pulisic hurt his tore a hamstring or something for Chelsea when he was like making a run. I think it was I don't know. Anyway,
I was
it
like
was one of the
relatively
times he
recent.
got hurt. I know that's not specific enough, but
Painful
like
glass.
yeah, he was winding up for a goal. But the point I'm trying to make is that like the guy was out for months after this injury that was like a non-contact injury, but like he took several steps on the injured leg, right?
Yeah.
And so like in the moment you have balance, you have the momentum and everything else. He takes a couple steps on a injured ankle or Achilles or whatever.
I think because of the angle, they had to look at it multiple times, and
Yeah.
when the announcers at the game, they were like, "I don't see it in that," and then they were like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
see it now. It's clearly he has his whole weight on his foot on his heel,
Yeah.
on his Achilles there, and it's clearly a foul." Again, we get two angles.
You get two angles, yeah.
Are the two cameras on these games?
I mean, ultimately, the ref made
Trey?
the correct decision. He really did. Like, there's
I
no
agree.
issue with it. As a Crew fan, I'm not like that's what should have been called. It should have been called
Yeah,
in the beginning, but you know, it's easy to forget that these guys are not playing in quarter length studs. Like they are
Right.
playing in full length, you know, aggressive traction.
screw-ins.
Yeah.
as we call them.
Yeah, so it is extremely painful, and when you're playing at the speed that these guys are playing at, yeah, that's a foul 1,000%, and it's going to look like it when you slow it down to quarter speed. It's not going to look like much, but it is, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good on Matan to create the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, Shane,
Yeah, he beat him.
it's crazy that we're like
Yeah.
very, very nearly complaining, right? So we got the call to go for us. And then the PK, I feel like we don't need to describe it because we could just insert the description from last week.
Yeah.
39th minute is when he ends up taking it.
Right,
Ooh.
39th
5
minute.
minutes.
Yes, much
Yeah.
time passed, and we deliberated on how we feel about the stutter step. We know that its true name is the Mort Crosby stutter step
from the 90s.
from the 90s.
Yeah, the Crosby Crip Walk.
But yeah, it was the same shot.
This time he got it to the side netting, though. It was better than last week's PK.
It was
Okay.
better than last
Placement
week.
was better.
Yes.
Still don't have a problem with last week's though.
Yeah.
And during the celebration, Matan gets hit with something
Oh.
and goes down.
Yeah.
The announcers didn't talk about it at all. He's like holding his arm.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
wa-
understand.
yeah, I saw that.
It
That
was.
was weird.
I mean, what could it have been? I mean, later in the game, I think it was right after that. You saw a water bottle go on the field, and like, yeah. I mean, of all the people to get hit and go down, I wish it wasn't Matan because everyone's like, that was a soft foul. And then he's just like, a water bottle, and it's like, okay, well, crap. Like,
Yeah.
wish it was
Yep.
somebody else. I mean, don't
Yeah,
throw
that-
stuff, man.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
don't-
thing. We were
don't-
talking
don't
about how
throw
Matan
stuff.
has been like bouncing back and he's been tough and he's the smallest guy.
Right.
Speaking of which, there was like a duel a little earlier between Matan and Santos, and Stacey was like, "Those are some small guys."
Yeah. They're both like together they're like 200 pounds soaking wet. Like,
Yeah.
not a thing.
So, but it didn't look like there was any more of that. So I think they took care of it, at least from DC's side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and that pretty, I mean, okay. So the other thing that I will just mention, I mean, we don't need to talk about it. It's just like, I felt like I was watching a World Cup game because of how much stoppage time there was in both halves. It was like, please just blow the whistle. I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes in each half.
But we just talked about the reason just now.
Right, yeah,
though.
well,
It took
yeah, I
forever.
know, but even
Yeah.
still, like, I rarely do you see anything north of 5
Yeah.
in MLS. But we
How about
managed to do it.
21?
We managed.
Yeah,
we
no
managed.
kidding.
Yeah.
Do
Oh,
you
Do you think we would
Sec-
have gotten the PK if they would have scored in that counter and it wasn't?
Yeah,
saved
I don't
by
know.
Schulte?
Oh, all 10 fans at Audi Field would have lost their mind.
yeah. Yeah.
It didn't look bad.
I think
Okay, I don't-
I think probably they would have That would have been.
But
that
would they have
been
like called the
hilarious.
other goal back or like?
Yeah, they would
Oh,
have
no,
to.
Yeah,
it-
they would have had
It
to.
has happened. It has happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh
Okay,
man,
but
that would have.
I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole on
Yeah.
Audi Field. I have a couple of comments about that.
Well, okay. So I think we're good on first half. Yeah, and let's take a quick
Yep.
break. And when we come back, we'll jump into the second half, and we'll give Mort the floor on Audi Field. So we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. I think before we left, we said that Mort had something to say about Audi Field, the crowd, something. Mort.
Well,
take
then
it
we
away.
were arguing about how to actually say
Audi
Oh yeah,
Field.
Audi, Innie.
Audi
Audi.
Quattro. Like
I guess it's like audio. So Audi.
it might be my Norwegian in me, but I will say Audi.
Audi.
I
Quattro.
you sound
I think
more
I say
intelligent.
Audi.
Yep.
You know,
I'd say
the,
Audi,
the
but
aggregate
Audi
score
is
is
better.
Quattro, Cero. Okay.
Ooh.
All right, so
It's gotta
take
be
it away,
car.
Mort.
Now, first of all, we mentioned already the crowd isn't great there, but what I don't understand about that stadium, I know they have made it like steep and intimate and all that. Who came up with this solution? It's like it's not proportional. They have some roof on this side. On the one corner, they have like a big wall sticking up. So it looked like they tried to make a new stadium that is made to be fitted in like an old stadium like they did in Portland or something like that.
I was gonna say, is it like Portland where they built
built
it-
they built a brand new stadium and they just decided to build it ugly. And and you know
Seems
you have
subjective.
you have the supporter stands at the end there, and you don't put a roof over there where we can really get the sound in. No, we're going to go straight up in the weather, so everybody that goes to every game going to stand in the open to the environment.
Yeah, but
It makes
DC's in
no
the
sense.
south. It's beautiful down there with the warm
Ah,
weather
gosh,
and the
it's the
beaches.
south.
It just annoys me.
I don't
I'm
know
a
that.
stadium guy. I don't
Geography.
understand that anybody would build a brand new stadium and make it look like it's halfway done.
How new is it?
Yeah.
When did they build
It's
it?
It's
like-
really
it's like-
it's new.
It's like 5 years, maybe.
Five
July
years, probably.
14th, 2018.
Wow, you had that
So
Five
ready?
years. I said
Man.
5 years.
I was
Booyah.
trying to pull up pictures of it so I could see
Yeah,
exactly
I'm looking
what
at
Mort was
pictures
talking
of it
about.
right now, and yeah, you're right. It's bad.
It's like a
Is
new
it?
old stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Interesting.
have like a corner that is just a wall. Like yeah. that is-
It's just overthinking the room. That's all it is. Like St. Louis's new stadium, like hit the mark perfectly. They did it right. Even for what it's worth, Austin is a good stadium.
We can move
fans
on.
Suck. No,
yeah,
fans suck.
there's plenty. We're not going to
Yeah.
talk about that. It's like
You
the
know who
Jewish
else built an
debate.
awesome stadium? The Columbus Crew, and it's loud as crap.
Hey, off season, we're going to go stadium by stadium. Just
I think that's a good
just
idea
like
because
Ben and his
I don't
U.S. players in Europe. I'm going to go.
I
Stadium
don't
by
I don't
stadium.
want to go
Be here all
yeah
day.
I don't want to like go super deep on this but I was thinking like between Cincy and Columbus and Nashville I feel like they all have like kind of a similar vibe, don't they? But they were all built like within a year or two of one another, and I wonder like how homogenized
Nashville looks.
it is.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
The tickle, I don't think is quite as close to lower.com, but
Nashville looks fuller because they use the colors.
Mm.
It's just like all different colors.
seats.
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's an optical illusion.
Okay, so
Anyways, second
Columbus,
half.
DC, second half. Let's talk about that.
I guess we kicked off and decided to just go up and
Yeah.
score.
Yeah, right. So yeah, what was
46th minute.
46th
Oh,
minute.
it's a beaut.
Yeah, talk us through it.
You,
Huss.
Clark.
Before our goal, though,
Uh,
didn't they have like an almost opportunity or something like that? I could have sworn when I was looking at it again when they did the kickoff and like within the first 30 seconds they had an awesome opportunity.
I might have still been getting settled in.
I mean, it all started from a Schulte throw in, so
Okay.
the ball got to him somehow.
Okay.
So he throws the ball out of the box to the left side to Sands. He's on the sideline. Sands switches the field. It looks like
Oh,
it
yeah.
maybe was intended for Ramirez, but it works its way over to Farsi.
Yes.
Farsi takes. I meant to look up this guy's name, number 33. I got it in front of me here.
Old
Green.
Latrobe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Farsi takes on Green and plays a hard ball on the ground into the box to Ramirez, who's running near post. Ramirez takes it first time between two defenders and past the keeper.
Yep.
Yeah, he angles it perfectly. It was a nice.
I'm still
finish.
completely confused on how he was able to kick it where he kicked it.
It was not too different from Russell Rowe's goal the other week.
Mhm.
I think it was
He
a way
getting on
sharper
the-
angle.
Yeah, it was a more difficult one. I'm not saying that, but they kept it low, came from the angle, kept it low, and got it in. He definitely didn't skyrocket that one. So
No,
it's a beauty.
Yep, good finish. A little clumsy, but I mean, hey, you put it on frame, you put it right where it needs to be, and they go in.
Well, it was a proper number 9 goal.
Yeah.
Which I don't even think, and no shade thrown at Cucho, but that's like not a, this was a poacher's goal. He's in the box. He made the run. He fanged to the back post and then made a move to the near post and was able to make himself available and then made the shot. I will say the Farsi beat Green. He was able to, he didn't chip it by, or he didn't kick it by him or beat him. He chipped it over his leg. Did you guys see that?
To himself, yeah.
He kind of chipped it to himself, and I thought that was class. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, that was
that's
nice,
awesome.
Tactical one-on-one kind of. I'm gonna burn you and put it in.
You could
here.
tell he wanted to
Yeah,
go one-on-one with him, too.
yeah. He engaged for sure.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I actually read where they were saying that was something that they actually had talked about prior to the game, where Farsi on this particular game was actually going to be able to take people more on one-on-one, because we saw that a lot with Sands, with him dusting Brooks Lennon and from Atlanta, and then Sands always has one or two runs a game where he just dusts somebody, and Farsi can do that. I haven't seen it, and I think that was something that Nancy came out and said hey, feel free to take people on, because we didn't see a lot of Moreira up the field. You know what I mean? Like we used to.
He went up a few times, but not quite as often.
Yeah. So it just seemed like he got more leeway to get more into the attack, which was awesome.
But we're opening up space for Sands and Farsi. It doesn't matter what side of the field, we're able to get them open and play the ball to them with so much time and space to make decisions and figure out how they want to continue up the field. It's a thing of beauty.
I started to see a pattern. You start to see a pattern of play now of a couple of games in a row where we feel like the guy is kind of yeah, we understand how he wants us to play it. And one guy that I seen move totally differently now with more confidence, that had to probably change something in his play, is Nagby. Nagby is moving I remember we talked about the I think it was last game or the game before where we said in the start it was okay, I'm going to get the ball here. I have to think about where I'm going to do the next pass.
Yeah.
No, he was moving. You knew that he's I know exactly where I'm going next.
That was
exactly
and I think we were short a bunch of starters in that game, but
yeah. But
Yeah.
it just looks like now there's much more confidence in what's expected of every player. So you see more of a pattern of play too, and you see the involvements of how important Sands and Farsi is to this formation.
and to that end, I mean, I feel like we've talked. What are we? We're match day 7, right? So
yeah,
just trying to think of broadly the percentage basis. We've talked a few weeks about Farsi, about Sands putting up the hustle, and maybe that's
that's insane.
80% of what they were doing. 80% is where they were kind of advancing the ball, but not taking it that last 20% that we saw in this last week, right? Because it's that final engagement where you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't had a lot of wide advancement in the final third, right? It's kind of collapsed into the center where we're relying more on the double 10 and the Cucho or whoever's in the 9 role to kind of advance the ball in the final third toward the center. But I feel like last game, there have been more wide approaches. Is that right?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
would definitely say so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be because of Ramirez. That's one of his strengths, is in the air.
Yeah, and two points to that. One is they don't try to go and all the way down to the corner flag. When they come, they want to cut in 45 degrees. They want to get down to where the end line and the box kind of meet. And that's where they want to angle it back out. We see it a couple of times. We saw a couple of weeks ago, Farsi go down there, like cut it back, and you saw the Kucha with the header, like a diving header. It was examples of that. That's where Nancy wants them to get. Don't down to the flag, but inwards every time.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned Ramirez. We haven't barely the last 2 weeks, and I know the results are going our way, but we're lucky right now. We don't feel like we're missing Cucho.
Yeah.
And I think it's a blessing in disguise, the fact that he didn't start hot and then he gets injured. And we now feel like we can still play, and we know that we have him in the backhand too.
And our opponents have been lackluster.
Disagree.
last few
I think
weeks.
DC was awesome.
I was going to say that earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Something
Make your
about this
case.
team when they play, I think this team will end up being
Good.
a squeak into the playoffs, 7, 8, 9, maybe a 6 seed. They're not that bad of a team.
No.
They will beat a lot of team on transitions
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean,
And they could have got a couple against us on transitions too.
Yeah. I just should we beat them? Yes. Should we beat Red Bull? Yes. Toronto? Yes. I 100%. I'm not that down on this DC team.
no.
I think at the end of the season it will come to fruition. This team will be either just miss the playoffs or they're going to squeak in and be a high seed.
I think they're going to start taking down teams. They got Benteke up top, and he is awesome. Like, he should. The reality is, when we were texting back and forth, and one thing we haven't said is they could have had 2 or 3 goals easy this game. I mean, they had 2 off the post. They just got that. I'm pretty sure it's O'Brien, and he just came in from
he
Nottingham
was
Forest.
good.
He
was really
awesome.
good.
Yeah, he's really good. Benteke up top is awesome. That taxi guy was awesome. Like, we played really well to stay in that game. Let's not discount this DC team. Like, they had Birnbaum and Pines in the back who were awesome.
One win.
Santos and Klitsch. I mean, they
One
have
win.
an awesome team.
1 win,
Yeah,
4
one
losses,
win.
2 ties.
Their
Hey,
best
we got
goal
this on
scorer.
record.
Giving them 2 of
Their,
those
their
losses.
best goal scorer is in the coach's box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't
We'll see.
agree, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
they have
I'd
Gabila
love to
Assad.
circle back on this.
Ruan came in. Ruan
No,
was
I will
amazing.
circle. I will circle back on this when we talk about the New England Revolution game.
Okay.
Okay.
All
right. Anything else in the second half? I mean, we had a handful of subs. How was? There were no more goals, right? We finished 2-0.
No,
so
like I said, I tuned in at 77, and it was in my opinion, from what I saw coming in fresh, it was an onslaught. Like, they should have scored.
Well, Schulte was like he
played well.
He was the man of the last 20 minutes day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He was like,
They gave him man of the match.
yeah. Okay.
Did
well,
they?
Good. Good.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Even though Farsi got on team of the match day match.
That's right.
He
Let's
was
talk
all
about
around
that.
on the bench, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anywho,
Yeah, I mean, so we subbed in Yao, Zawadzki, Quentin, and Pirate. Jason Russell,
Waited till the 85th minute. though.
Jason Russell Rowe.
Yeah,
Yep.
we waited.
Waited
We
a
said it
long
for a
time.
while. We did say it for a while that where's the subs? We need some subs. We need. Dave starts just putting more and more pressure on us, and we should have probably subbed to mix it up a little bit.
And that's
Yeah,
been
Like he
Ramir-
did,
yeah.
and it
Ramirez
didn't really
was-
help that much.
Ramirez was dead at
Yeah.
the end.
And fair
Yeah.
play to him. He worked his tail off. Like, he,
What do you
he
call that?
Totally did.
yeah.
What? It's like a hustle of
Hustle robot something.
something.
He was a Hasselblad.
Yeah,
He's a Hasselblad.
Yellow
I'm
card.
surprised.
he's that yellow too.
I'm surprised Sands didn't
gave
come
you a
off. He
warning
got
earlier.
hurt in the first half. Something
Yeah.
with his knee.
Oh,
He was
when he blocked
clearing
the
a
shot.
ball.
Yeah,
Or blocked the shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could have subbed sooner or put the subs in a little bit sooner, but
Yeah.
A lot of bit sooner.
You know, I
Right?
Googled hustle bot. It's not a word. It's not
What?
a word.
It's not.
No.
it's not,
Not yet.
It's not the word of the
Let's
year.
Neither
make it-
was ginormous.
No.
We'll talk again when they do the Webster, like, what's a word, new word. All the kids are using it. And, you know, if there's one thing about me, it's that I create awesome words for kids.
Okay. All right. You get hustlebot in the dictionary. I'll quit the podcast.
But about the end of the game again. I know if we want to go through the subs house or not, but I think the nature of that team too, having Benteke on top and they need a goal and have him as a target man and put some because they still continue to do that, and Benteke probably should have had a goal.
Oh, yeah.
He took one down and he hammered one outside.
Oh, man.
You know,
He is
and he
a
had a header that hit the
big
top of the.
dude,
It
man.
wasn't offside, but
Yeah.
but he headed one that hit the top of the
Yes.
crossbar.
O'Brien
Yeah. I
had
mean-
one off the post.
Yeah.
Far post.
Yeah, so we definitely had some chances there, and like I said, we will get to the score later, but I said Crew really tried to get Ben the correct score in this round.
2-1.
I didn't even say
What was that
anything. And you
about
guys were
us?
texting me like, you shut your mouth. I was like, I didn't even say anything. It was like there was 2 minutes left. It's like, oh, I bet you Ben just wants to score. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Maybe.
To those who don't know, Ben predicted a 2-1 victory in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. So we'll go through that later. I think we're good. We're looking good, but again, like I said, I'm not convinced that we have met a formidable foe in recent weeks. I think that's a good segue to talking about New England, who has, regardless of how they play, they have the stats to be worth some intimidation coming into this Saturday. So let's take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about this weekend's game against New England. And we're back. Before we left, I said we were going to jump into New England, but I think there's a few things we still had to cover off on. Number one, I saw two of us circulate this because all we do is talk and nobody reads or listens. 17 goals scored in 7 games. That's the most ever, period. And then it says, since
Crew.
96 was 16. So for the Crew, it's the most we've ever scored in our first 7 games. The second most was in our inaugural season, where we scored 16 in our first 7 games. And it is more than all other starting 7 games except for 3 in MLS history. So, any thoughts on that? What's the deal? Is it just the Atlanta game? Like, is that what got us there? Or
I think it's a couple of things. We've been a little lucky, maybe hitting teams that are not really hot. The Atlanta game obviously is skewing the numbers a little bit in our favor.
But I'm sure
And
that's
I
the
think we
same with the other teams. I'm sure there was one game
Yeah.
where everybody was like, yeah, we won 7-0. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but I think it's also, we talked about this early on, is Nancy's way of playing is risk reward thing, and people not figuring us out in all cases. And I think then we get that offensive going. I think we're hard to stop.
Yeah, and I feel like how many of our players have scored on the team? I feel like there's a ridiculous, like of those 17 goals, there is 9 goal scorers. Because, I mean, our main guy who costs the most money, our main number 9, Cucho, hasn't scored yet. Like, that dude hasn't even scored yet. And we're setting a record for the Crew?
Yeah.
Like,
I was
this is
I was looking
bonkers.
at, I don't have it up right now, but I was looking at Cincinnati earlier this week because they're at the top of the East right now. And they've got I mean, kudos to them for being at the top of the East, but like, you look at their score lines, it's 1-0, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1 kind of deal. They've got 5 goal scorers, and their top goal scorer has 2. You know, there's a couple guys who have scored 2. So Yeah, I mean, we are in stark contrast to them. To your point, Ben, we are. Everybody's putting up goals for sure.
Yeah, and minus the Philly game, our defense has been phenomenal.
Well, I think we've talked about it a few times. At least last year, I know I brought it up, and Ben I think did as well. Finding that secondary score and third is what will make your team successful. So currently you got Zeller on 4, Morris on 3, Ramirez on 3, and you've got 6 other guys on a goal. Without Cucho.
Yeah.
So 17 probably a fluke. It's wonderful, but to hit those numbers, once every, what are we at, 27 years? Hey, it's going to happen, but this is what it takes to be able to score that amount of goals. And especially in the Atlanta game, you had how many people with their first goals?
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I mean, you can call it an outlier, but Zeller on 4, Morris on 3, and Ramirez on 3, that's not an outlier.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I agree. It's kind of a fluke, but the bigger fluke is our multi-million-dollar number 9 scoring 0 goals in 7 games.
Well, but it's
And
not.
us still
That's
setting
not
a
fair.
record.
That's not fair. It's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
7. It's not 7. He's only
Yeah.
played like 3 games.
But we've had 7 games.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I'm excited for him to come back. Don't get me wrong. Like,
we've had 7
He's a
games, but
monster.
it's not as if he has like logged, 630 minutes, right? Like, that's not a fair.
sounds like a
comparison.
bunch of numbers to me, my man.
All right. Well, so speaking of numbers, I got a Cirque quote here. The Crew have won 3 consecutive games by multiple goals, the 4th time in club history. What is that? 3 games, multiple goals, 4th time in club history for the first time since '98.
So that means we did it the first 3 seasons, and we haven't done it since
Yeah.
until now. So we haven't done it for like 25 years. It's really
All
the
these
first time.
stats, when we put all
Yeah,
the
stats are
DeVille
fun,
stuff in here and the Cirque stuff, seems like we were pretty darn good from '96 to '98, right? I mean, I
We can
wasn't
score goals.
I wasn't
Hey,
watching
the
at the time.
90s? Hey, bring them
Yeah,
back to
there you go.
90s. Yeah.
Back
I mean,
to the '90s.
I literally
I can't look at you.
Yeah,
so,
for all the,
so for the
uh,
listeners,
yeah.
Ben has for some reason put on a what is it?
80s hair metal.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
glam
Wrong-
rock kind of thing.
The wrong decade.
yeah, it's pretty '80s.
Yeah, it's
people
like,
have
Rick from Rick and Morty hair.
Ben's wearing a wig.
Yeah. I bought it
Just-
specifically for the podcast, but not for this. I actually have a Hail Matan shirt that I want to like create a GIF on.
But how
With
is it
me, like-
related to to that?
What do you mean related
makes
to
no
that?
sense.
You
No,
said you
Matan.
bought the
Why you
wig
have-
for the Matan. How is that related?
I'm gonna make a
Explain that.
GIF. I'm gonna make a video of me playing.
It's
Is it GIF or GIF?
oh, Jif. There might be a
Jif.
soft J.
We're gonna
If
move
anybody
on
says
from this.
GIF,
We're gonna move on.
freak out.
Unless you're talking peanut butter.
All right.
No,
I gotta
I'll
come
talk
up-
about-
Nacho.
I'll talk about peanut butter all day.
Anybody want to talk about the Cirque quote? No, we good. We're
It's hard
scoring a lot
to
of goals.
it's hard to understand.
All right, let's move on.
No.
Bailey Johnson says she quotes Wayne Rooney on the penalty call. Quote, he conned the referee. He conned the VAR. Fair play to him.
What?
What?
I think that was referring to Matan.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's like he's saying that
No.
sucked, but respect, right? Or like,
Yep.
Does anybody
I
else?
wish I could have done
Hamilton-
that or something.
His quote could be summarized in Hail Matan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
it is. I don't know. It's very bizarre seeing him as a player, like such a pit bull type player who's like feisty. But him as a coach, he just kind of like is in a malaise of. I guess that everyone the announcers were saying that's kind of like how he coaches. He just kind of like,
No, he's a soft-spoken dude.
Yeah.
he's not. Yeah,
but he didn't play that way. He
isn't
wasn't
it-
that.
it-
You know,
No,
Well,
like
and
he was
he
a
was-
monster.
I made this comment during this game. I mean, I don't know that I thought this during the first time we played him, but he has like 10x star power on anyone else on his team. Like,
100%.
do you think that creates
yeah.
some kind of weird dynamic with like
Tyrion Weaver's the same way.
Yes.
as he's
Yeah,
coaching
that's exactly what I was gonna
these
say.
guys? Like, he is a legendary player for a team that is not doing very well, right? Like,
Yeah.
what do you think the locker room's like there? Don't answer that, because we could go down a rabbit hole. But this has got to be a weird
But he has
dynamic there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he also said Columbus are the best team in the division. That's great.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we are.
Thanks,
I
Wayne.
agree.
We're massive.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else to say about these stats before we?
Can you give that guy another card?
Which guy?
Please.
Ben?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll change. I'll change back to my hat.
Which guy?
Oh no.
Who got the last yellow card?
It was
me
Ben.
for bringing
It
up?
had to have
Okay,
been
it was
Ben.
Ben.
It's always
Ben.
been.
Ben's the only one who's ever gotten a card.
I feel
No,
like I
Haas
can't-
did.
I-
And it
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
go to
one time.
VAR.
One time.
I'll put back on the hat. Hold on. I'm going to do magic off air. You guys keep going.
Okay, so do you want to cut over to the Crew 2 update, and then we'll come back and do our predictions?
Yep.
Does that sound good?
Yes.
Sounds good. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's throw it over to our Capybara correspondent, our chief Crew 2 Capybrava, President Bird. Take it away, Bird.
Hey, 90s Club. Thanks for having me again and to talk about the Cappies, and especially happy to talk about their first win. They played against Chicago Fire 2 on Sunday away from home in Chicago, and now after this win with 5 points, they are placed 5th in the East, but every team ahead of them has played an extra game. Well, the first half was a little rough for both teams. I think that the Crew especially struggled to maintain possession of the ball in the middle field and attack. A lot of errant passes and having to pass the ball back to the defense and restart, which meant that we didn't see as many shots on goal as we're used to with this club. Well, the defense, at least, played exceedingly well for most of the game, and if you get anxious with how high Patch Shuttle plays with the Crew, you might need to avert your eyes every time they pass the ball back to Brady Scott, because he, at some point, was all the way up to the midfield line. I think that these struggles are normal and expected. The squad had a lot of turnover from last season, and even from week to week, it will be hard to maintain the same starting 11. I think for this game, we're missing 5 players who played on the first game. Well, things changed in the second half. Laura made a few subs that added creativity to the attack in third, and it also helped that by the end of the first half, a Chicago player decided he didn't want to play anymore, so he went on to get 2 stupid yellow cards in quick succession. So he had a man up for all of the second half. In my opinion, the key sub was Jordan Knight. He entered the game with an aggressive mindset, and his movement on and off the ball destabilized the opposition's defense, allowing for good chances. And it was at the very end that Rio got his first goal with the club, with an assist from Matteo Brunbury, who had signed with the club a mere 72 hours earlier, which is great and looks good for the rest of the season. Well, this Sunday, the Cappies have their home opener at Historic Crew Station against the Revolution 2, a team that will come to Columbus after a statement 5-1 victory, which I believe was away from home in Philly. And I think this will be a really challenging game for us, but a winnable one. I think that the crowd's going to show up in good numbers. We're going to have a tifo, we're going to have banners, we're going to do tailgating. It's Capitane's Day is the theme, so it'll be, Valentine's Day style cards. It'll be fun. Everyone should come. Bring your family. It's cheap, it's fun, and the weather looks beautiful. For more information, you can follow the Capybrava on Twitter. And as for the Crew, I think we'll continue to be red hot. The team is clicking, and, it's paying off. The work that Anthony is doing is incredible, and I can talk about it for way too long. But I think that if our defense can hold back the Revolution's attack, and we should be good. I expect 3 goals from the Crew by Ramirez, Lucas, and Matan. Again, thank you so much for having me, and let's go Crew, let's go Capybaras.
And we're back. Thanks to Bird for the continued Crew 2
Bird.
coverage. It'll be
Thanks,
good to
Bird.
see the first home opener on the 16th there against Revolution 2, the second turn. Okay, so
Second revolution.
Turn
that
like
was
bird.
the joke. Yes.
Oh,
Okay,
got
so let's. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about Revolution. I mentioned earlier they're second in the East.
16 points.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. We're gonna have to lay down some kind of predictions for the match, but what kind of form are they in? They've won every game, right, Haas?
No, they are 5-1-1.
Okay.
They played Montreal over the weekend, match day 7, won 4-0.
I think
Yeah,
when I
Montreal.
said they've won every game, I guess when I was thinking that when I saw they've won their last 5. Is that right?
they had a draw in there as
Okay.
well.
Yeah, draw
Okay.
again. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you're way off.
And when they lost,
would
they
say
lost
way
big to LA.
Off, but not
They
way.
lost-
They lost big to LA.
LAFC.
Yeah, 4-0 to
4-0.
LA.
LA's good.
Yeah.
They had a yeah. Go ahead, Haas.
And I was just going to mention, the Montreal game, they looked, watching the highlights, they look really good, but we also know Montreal is
So
not
bad.
in the best form currently, so it's hard to say how much of it was New England and how much was Montreal being bad.
Montreal has 1 win and 5 losses, and that led in 16 goals. They're the opposite.
Yeah,
in
the
terms of
only
goals.
Close
shared,
to DC's record.
the only shared opponent we have is DC, and they beat him 3 weeks ago 2-1.
Yeah, at DC. Okay.
So
Okay.
It's 2 teams in form meeting each other, and I think this will going to be one of those games of the round where they're going to put a whole lot of focus on this one.
Yeah, I'm
I think
pumped.
for these, this is a pretty big one.
yep,
Yeah.
I agree with Mort for sure.
Another
Yeah,
team
100%.
from the 90s. Another charter
It's
MLS team.
Yeah,
So
96ers.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's one interesting thing here. You have Bruce Arena starting to get his team back to what they were 2 years ago, and that's a scary thought because you got
They were awesome.
Charles Gale. Charles Gale is starting to get back into the groove that he was in earlier. But the interesting thing is, they have the Gimako Rioni or whatever his name is, the new designated player that came in last year. He pulled him and he started playing Bobby Wood up there as a 9.
Oh, Bobby Wood.
Yeah, and
Didn't he just join them in the offseason, Bobby
and
Wood?
he joined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
he
at
joined him in the
RSL and he wasn't
offseason.
playing.
Yeah, he was barely playing. He's coming in, and he looks like a new spring. You know that when he gets going, he has potential to do pretty well, but is one of those teams where Bruce Arena doesn't care if you're a designated player, how much you make. If you don't produce, you will get next man up. And right now, they seem like that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah. Their team's good. I'm looking at Bobby Wood. They have their DP who comes off the bench. Gil's awesome. Bo is awesome. Those guys were awesome 3 years ago. They're awesome. They have Latif Blessing, who is phenomenal. They have Bai and U.S. players know DeJuan Jones. That guy is awesome.
DeJuan
Dude,
Jones,
he's
yeah,
good.
I was waiting for you to say that. He's been one of the best players this year. He's coming up. He's like a Davis light at the moment. Coming up, like he's scoring goals, creating assists. He's involved in a lot of the offensive play, and I think he's from the left back, or is it the right
Left
back? I
back.
can't quite remember. Yeah, left back.
But they have Brandon Bai. Like, both those guys are academy players who played for the U.S. national team on like a youth level. They're awesome. Like, DeJuan Jones is
I'd
gone
be correct.
at the end of this year.
Yeah,
He's
I-
phenomenal.
To correct myself, he hasn't scored, but he has 2 assists, and he has a pretty high rating game.
So they don't start their DP number 9, even though he's awesome. And they also have Josie Altidore. I completely forgot they
right.
had
Yep.
Altidore.
Oh wow!
That's where he started, right? With New England?
Oh,
Professional?
man. I thought he
Altidore?
was with
I thought he was
New York.
New Jersey or New York.
Yeah,
Red
I was going
Bulls.
to say New Jersey. Yeah, Red Bulls.
He's been there before, though, right?
Probably. Yeah.
I swear he's played for New
He
England
did.
previously.
They put him on loan down to Liga MX, Puebla,
Yeah.
and then he's back. So he was there last year and then went on loan.
You know,
Yeah, Altidore started in DC with
Davies.
Yeah,
Was it Davies?
seriously.
So
no, not in DC, in New York Red Bulls.
Oh.
Sorry, he started
Yeah.
with the Red
When
Bulls
Bush Senior was
back
president.
in the day.
yeah, I think you said it to begin with, is that you have two teams in form going head to head. It'll be interesting. So
and this was the New England was the team that played the inaugural match at LDC.
Yep.
2-2
And they were
draw,
the
free
first-
beer for all.
Oh yeah, because the system went down. Free nachos and free. I didn't
Free
Ashley find
Donatos.
tofu.
Yeah,
Ashley
free
got free
tofu.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
Oh,
just sat in
man.
the corner and ate.
yeah, it was
It was like-
great.
Yeah.
It's great. Okay, well, so are you guys ready to put your predictions out there?
oh yeah.
I think before we jump in, I always get ahead of myself. And maybe it's because there's not much worth mentioning. I will spoil the results from last week and say that no one again
Why are we so bad at
predicted the right score. Now, I will say though,
Come on.
you've
we were
heard the
close.
legend of guessing the weight of the bull. We can
I have
just
not.
just tell people to
I
Google
have not.
it
Pixar
later.
thing?
Just Google it. Guess the weight of the bull. Just Google it.
I feel
The
like-
point is, together, I think we're in the right zip code. We just haven't gotten it right yet. So, Mort, give us the update from last week, and then we can do our predictions for this week.
I don't know if I want to, because I try to be the realist, and I get hurt by that. But the end result, as you know by now, was that Columbus Crew won 2-0.
Yes.
Haas did a good job. He said a 2-goal win, but he said 3-1. Trey said we're going to blow their socks off, and 4-1. Ben had a devil on the shoulder at the end, like we often experience. He had a 2-1. I thought it was going to be a tie 2-2, and Morris, you had 3-0. So, to your point, nobody got the score right, but all 4 of you guys got 1 point, which means right now, Ben, you're still in the lead.
As it should
But
be.
now the big difference is now, for the first time in a couple of weeks, we have a person trailing, and that's me. And
I hope you
know
look
it's
good
early.
in green.
Yeah, queso dunk tank.
It's one of my it's possibly my favorite color, but yeah, it's not a good one.
Okay.
I'm nervous. I'm shaking.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's do our predictions for this week. It sounds like, Mort, I like the way you said that. 2 teams in form meeting. I said it before. Others disagreed. I don't think we have met another team in form, and I think we are in form in recent weeks.
Outside of Philly.
In recent weeks. So I think we're gonna see maybe a little more surprised this week than in weeks past. But let's go around the horn. Big surprise. I'm going to start with Ben.
What?
Lay it out there, Ben. What's the score going to be?
Man.
Hustlebot is not a score line.
What if I said Hustle Crew Bot New England? Is that a thing?
There would be no scores included in that sentence.
It's Spanish. So, man, okay. I don't want to pull a Himmel and be like, well, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll
But
go
it's
first.
tough.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah, go first.
Actually,
All right.
Make me last.
All right. Well, so I foreshadowed. I believe it will be a 2-2 draw.
Man,
Hey,
that's
now,
actually what I was going to
That's
say.
that's
Sorry,
that's
you didn't.
that's
and
my,
I did. So-
No, that's fine. Fair play. Fair play. All right.
So,
all right, who's
so
next?
Ben's gonna go last. So I'll go
Heck
to
yeah.
Mort.
So I actually had 2-2 first, but I put it down here as I'm live. But I realizing so far this season I gone with a 1-1, a 2-2, a 1-2, but I have 2-2, 2-2. I have tied almost every
I
week,
didn't
and
realize Caleb Porter was here.
I'm officially the fence guy.
Yeah, you
Yes.
are. You
Yeah.
are the fence
I am the
man.
fence
Afraid
guy,
to
and
commit.
I won't budge. I've said one.
What?
No, you know what? No,
No.
no crew.
Okay.
3-1 crew.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, your
3-1
continuation.
crew. Let's go.
3-1.
Let's
I'll
do it.
accept
Fist
it.
bump.
I'll accept
Yeah.
it. Before we rejected your amendment because you took too. Actually, I'll tell you why we rejected it.
That feels good.
I'll tell you
so
why
good.
we rejected it. Because before you guessed a
wearing
tie, and then I said, I forget who
The
it
next
was.
person.
I said,
Yeah,
they haven't scored they've scored like 4 goals in 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. And you said, oh, we'll change it. So we rejected it, but I'll accept it. You want to go 3-1? Let's do it.
Yep. Let's do it.
3-1 for more. Trey.
Ooh, I just looked it up, and to fill a dunk tank with queso would cost us about $1,900. So
Costco queso?
yes, actually, Sam's Club queso
Okay.
would be about nice.
Still-
Not including the rental of the dunk
Still
tank.
pretty early in the match year.
Yeah. So
So,
that being said, I'm going to go 1-0 Crew.
okay. Home field advantage. Defense. We'll see. Haas.
I didn't want to say 2-1.
Words, and I doubt it. Pause.
I think it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride.
1-0, Trey.
Which? Right, that's what I.
No
that's what I
way.
thought.
That will not be a score line this whole year.
I didn't want to say 2-1.
Streak around
I'll
my
buy
house.
myself an Austin jersey if we ever have a 1-0 result. It's just not going to happen.
That is a bold
It's just not
statement.
going to happen.
That seems
It's not the
such a
style of
common
play.
score.
It's
I cannot
not
wait
the
to come
style
back
of
on
play.
next week.
All right. Oz, go
I
ahead.
think it's going to be a roller coaster ride. I was going to try and find a way to reference
He's frozen.
Mariah Carey's
Yeah,
face.
we
Go
lost
ahead.
Oz. Okay,
We lost
We
you.
missed you,
Yeah,
Oz. What
I'm
happened?
sure it'll be in the
Yeah.
audio. We'll get
What'd
it
you
later.
say?
What'd you say?
You're back now.
I said I was going to reference a roller coaster ride, Mariah Carey's Fantasy.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I don't know if that's 90s or
Definitely.
early 2000s.
Definitely
90s.
Definitely 90s. Yeah.
3-2 Crew.
And how is
That's
that
what I was
related?
going to say.
How is that related to Mariah Carey?
Roller coaster. It's going to go back and forth.
That's more of Red Hot Chili Peppers and Beavis and Butthead.
I see trends here. Like Haas is obsessed with the number 3.
Mm.
I'm not looking.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm sure that there's something to be said about that in the American Journal of Psychiatry and teeth falling out in your dreams kind of thing. But
It's
we're
not like I'm
going to
say
into
9
that.
or something.
Yeah.
It's a
So if you're going to say
soccer score.
4-0.
Catch a
that's
niner in there?
ridiculous.
All right. Ben.
oh man,
Now-
I still don't
Ben,
have one nailed
the
down.
man who will
Just
complain
copy
about
somebody else.
who will complain about everyone taking his idea, but who won't offer one of his own when offered a chance at the beginning of this segment. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I'm gonna say pie to the crew, and then poop
We're going to
emoji
score
to the
3.14 goals. Yes.
not XG. That's just what they'll end with. Well, ironically, I was gonna get weird and say 3-2. Who said 3-2? Was that Haas?
Haas.
Man, that is a crazy scoreline. I'm gonna go 2-1 again. I'm gonna go 2-1.
Crew.
But I if it's 3-2, I'll kiss you on the mouth as a friend.
Okay.
I really want that 1-0.
3-2
So
is
Ben
a
is- Ben
crazy
is going-
score.
Ben is going 2-1 for the 3rd time in the last 4 games. That's a really original score.
Okay.
Okay.
Didn't have to
But so
say
what we
that.
have here is Haas with 3-2, as we mentioned, Trey with 1-0, and Ben with 2-1. I got off the fence. I can't believe it. It's 3-1 Crew. Morris got on the fence, and
Chuck
all in
Woolery.
all- yeah, there we go. All in all, we're looking at a 2-1 win overall for the Crew. I like our attitude. Well, everybody but Morris believes in.
No, man.
Our
It's just-
team.
we're just
Yeah.
playing a game, you know?
No,
He's rooting
That's
for
what the
the.
we're
players
gonna dig
say.
into this.
Yeah.
He's rooting for the own goal again.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do want to say, all right, so here's the thing.
Uh huh.
I
What is
need
the thing?
people and I want people. Give me your scores. So I
Yeah,
said
please.
on the twits that first person to get 3 correct scores will win a prize. And so I texted the guys. We have a ton of crew stuff because we are old, and we season ticket members. We have a ton of stuff.
We were alive in the 90s, y'all.
We loved it. But there is a guy or girl, but he or she has a I'm blowing this. She has a podcast. It is at O End Zone, out of our own end zone, and he has correctly guessed 2 different scores. So he is one away, or she. Dang, I need to get this together. Of winning a prize. And I think for the first prize, I would give away my signed picture of Federico Higuain.
It's
I don't know.
Federico.
There's no Fred.
Federico.
Federico. It's not.
It's a
I think you
counterfeit.
should give. I think you should get.
It's his 4th brother.
It's counterfeit. No, but you should give away the wig. Could we do that?
No, I since I was, as long as I can remember, I've always had a blonde wig on hand. And don't ask me why, but it's just I've always just had one. So I couldn't find it when we moved this last time. So now she's like, "Why did you buy a blonde wig?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't know. I just always have to have one."
Okay.
But I look terrible in it.
So yes, we have something for
A
somebody who
non-wig
guesses.
prize for someone.
Something
Right.
old, something borrowed, something yellow.
Yes.
Well, and I think what Ben was getting at is we have multiple things, so continue to guess, and we will continue to give out different
Counterfeit.
prizes that are authentic, that we have around, that are cool crew memorabilia items. So please guess often,
We'll keep it tab.
once per game.
Yeah,
Together we have guessed 0 correctly.
yeah.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
Have we
have had
confirmed?
7 games of the
Games.
match year.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so that's
Week.
35,
But evidently we have
0
somebody
and
on Twitter
35.
who's
Okay.
Biff from Back to the Future and has
Okay.
the almanac.
All right. Okay, so before the game, obviously we've been talking about the Black Flag Social Club tailgate that's on in the North Lot. Other viewing options, Trey.
Yeah, as always, you've got land grant that definitely pre-games. But if you don't have a ticket to the game, you can also watch it there. You've got Betty's down by the stadium. You've got Boston's. You've got our bar. Black Flag, like we had talked about, does their thing from 2:30 to 6:30. Endeavor over in Grandview also shows it. And then also don't forget, before the game at 5:55, they do the walk-in on the west side.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure there'll be some
we'll be listening to Tupac there.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. But besides that, I mean, I think that kind of hits the majority of the stuff going on. As always, they do stuff on the plaza. So if you do get there early and if you do go in, there's always fun stuff to do around the stadium, especially for those of us with families and want to get in there early and do some
90s
fun
night,
games and prizes.
right?
Yep.
Is it 90s night?
Yeah.
It is
Big
90s night.
time.
Yeah. And if you have any other comments, concerns, things, do you want to reach out to us, try us on our page?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
143.
1-800-85 800.
No, you got to start with 5. The 5 is.
911 text.
But
right,
also, there's
well,
a bunch of like Gem City, and I think we're going to talk to Katie from Mecklenburg. There's a bunch of a bunch of different supporter groups all around the nation, especially here on the East Coast. So if you
The
get a
Charlotte
chance,
game coming up.
Nordeck,
Yep.
just Nordeck.com. They have the supporter groups there, and you can find, like, I think 3-1 Crew is the Chicago one up by you, Mars.
Yep.
So there's always something going on.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you at the game and find out what the score will truly be. That has not yet been mentioned this evening. So
3-1.
until then,
1-0.
go Crew.
Go.
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 Thanks, everyone, for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off-season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew!
I walked out and I said, I was just walking by to go get some ice. I said, all my jokes failed.
Did she just look at you and go, I know.
No, I was
Did she just nod like
she was in the office, and so I was like at the fridge, like, you know, a couple
Crying.
rooms away. I hear her say, she's like, she said, so what? So you quit? You're done? I was like, yeah, I was like, I can't go back in there. I was like,
So
I
awkward.
said, I told all my jokes, and I was like, I don't know anything about soccer. I was like, I'll never be a soccer comedian.
I'll never
this is all
be
I can
a
contribute.
I'll never be a soccer comedian.
All I have is the jokes.